So you may have come across someone's LinkedIn profile and you want to reach out to them. Chances are you're reaching out to them because of something that you want.
When I get an invitation, I actually go out to look at who's viewed my profile to see if that person actually looked at my profile beforehand.
If you're just talking about yourself and saying about all the great stuff that you've done and then why you want to reach out to them, it's just not really appealing.
That N in networking stands for never stop giving. And if you give enough, you are going to get back tenfold. I'm Jeff Young, and they call me the LinkedIn guru. I didn't call myself that. My network called me that. So I teach LinkedIn. I've been doing it for about 13 years now.
Hi, so my name's Joe Gannon, and I am a content creator myself, but also most recently, I've been building an agency which is around social media, marketing, and also repurposing content. So I work with business owners, CEOs, entrepreneurs, creators, anyone who is inspiring how I can help them to amplify their message.
What are your top 3 best practices for building effective relationships on LinkedIn?
The approach I use is something I call my 3 Ps.
For scrolling your feed and you're coming across inspiring content or something that's motivated you, which is kind of like called out to you personally, like don't hold back in telling that person who wrote that piece of content that you've been inspired.
I start with profile because your profile is your story. It is your brand. It is where you tell people and how you get found, on LinkedIn. Tell people your values.
I'd recommend using voice messages in the direct messages on LinkedIn to allow people to get to know you. You can always sign off a voice message saying like you don't expect them to reply with one back, which can sometimes allow people to just, not kind of to feel uncomfortable.
The interesting thing about your story, though, is that your story is sort of about you, but it really should be focused on those that you serve. Make it a conversation. When someone comes to your profile, they should think you're talking to them.
I've had great benefits from sending voice messages, and it usually stops a lot of the small talk of direct messages like back and forth.
The second P is people. And when I say people, I really mean connecting with people.
Then my third best practice for building effective relationships on LinkedIn would be to leave meaningful comments.
And then the third P is participate. And there's a reason why of those 3 Ps, that's the only one that's a verb, because it means action. It means doing something.
Whether you're not a creator yourself, you don't create your own content, you can effectively still create content by leaving meaningful comments on people's posts. So whether you're sharing your own perspective, your own insight, whether you are congratulating someone or just encouraging them for putting themselves out there, I think that really helps to build relationships because people will see time and time again that you're taking your precious time to reach out and to support them.
I believe a network is like a garden. It needs a little care and feeding. So from that perspective, participating with them means actually engaging in conversations with them, going out there and looking at their content and providing them content.
And then they start to do that back with your content, and there's great benefits for that.
Because engagement on LinkedIn is really where the rubber meets the road. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time.
So how do you turn your connections into meaningful ones?
Immediately after connecting, I send them a direct message that says, thank you very much for connecting. Let's take it to the next level. And if that's a local person, of course, this would have been much more prevalent before COVID. Okay, but if it's a local person, I actually will go out and say, would you like to go, sit down and have a cup of coffee?
But I would say to turn a meaningful conversation, you do want to get past that small talk. You want to just get to know somebody, to align maybe where you have common interests or maybe even where you have differing opinions.
Take it to the next level and make it more than just a tick mark.
From my own experience, it's probably been trying to take things off social media as well.
Connections are not about tick marks. Connections are about meeting people.
You might start with engaging someone in a post and have a bit of back and forth. You might then take that to like the direct messages and then also like arrange a call, reach out to somebody. Just try and get to know people away from platforms and actually get to know that person behind that profile photo.
What strategy or steps do you follow when connecting with a stranger on LinkedIn?
Firstly, don't just send them an invitation to begin with. Look at their profile.
So you may have come across someone's LinkedIn profile and you want to reach out to them. Chances are you're reaching out to them because of something that you want, whether you want to get to know that person, you want to tap into their network, you want to learn from them, you want to ask them about something.
Look at what they've said about themselves. Find out who you have as common connections. Find out their background. Find some sort of commonality.
Think about it from their perspective, because ultimately we all do message people because we want something. And it's very obvious when that comes across on a direct message. So if you're sending paragraphs and paragraphs to somebody, introducing yourself and then having an ask, that is just so much text about you, and it's not about the person.
Next step is to actually send them a message when you do the invitation to connect.
In terms of the strategy for reaching out to people, especially if you don't know them, is to just consider how your messaging can come across and be read from their perspective.
I send them a message that says, hi, I saw that your background is really interesting and you and I share this kind of common background, or we also maybe share the common connections.
If you're just talking about yourself and saying about all the great stuff that you've done and then why you want to reach out to them, it's just not really appealing.
Okay, and I see that you specialize in this, if you actually saw that on their profile, and I would love to talk with you about that. Would you be willing to connect and network with me?
Main strategy, or like a main piece of advice with reaching out to people, is just to see it from their perspective.
When I get an invitation, I actually go out to look at who's viewed my profile to see if that person actually looked at my profile beforehand. But if they haven't even looked at my profile, well, how did they know that they wanted to connect with me in the first place?
Do you change your tone and style of message when messaging different generations on LinkedIn?
I don't honestly approach it any differently.
So I personally don't really change my tone or style of messaging when it's people from different generations.
One of my philosophies out here is that it doesn't matter what age you are if I can help you.
But my approach is usually just to try and be myself and to try and just allow anybody who I'm reaching out to get to know me.
From that perspective, the message is the same, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, because I'm here to help.
So I personally don't really change my style. Potentially it's because I use LinkedIn in more of a unconventional, untraditional way. So I don't really see it as, obviously it has great benefits being more of a professional network, but I usually just use it as a social media platform, a content platform, and the networking tool. And if you just strip down networking to what that is, it's just two people interacting.
That N in networking stands for never stop giving. And if you give enough, you are going to get back tenfold what you give every single time.
As much as you can just show up and be yourself, I think that allows people to get to know you best.
Again, that has nothing to do with age. That has to do with value. That has to do with what you offer and how you offer it.
Yeah, whether that is somebody my age, early 20s, someone who's late 20s, someone who is starting their career or at the end of their career.
The best use I can think of on LinkedIn is not about me, but about helping my network.
I usually just try and be myself, because I think that gives the other person permission to get to know you and to also be themselves with the sort of conversation that you're having.